Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, my love?
I'm very well. Now, I have, I think, three questions at most. I love the con
Wow. Do you know we must sit down? We must do a proper one where we're looking at each other because wow, you have three questions.
No, I know, and I'm going to be inviting you. But what one thing that I love is truth in how we have expended our lives to experience and understanding and sharing, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the questions that I would like to ask, well, it's three, obviously.
So,
How are you finding peace in the transition of your own experience?
mhm.
The second is because relationship is not just ourselves, but it's people surrounding, children, family, extension. And then the third question, it is growth with self. One thing that I have found is that the experience, yeah, COVID has taught us to look inward and not necessarily blame batho, but to really assess ho rona ha ntse re pointer. There's so many other fingers that are pointing at us, and what are we assessing about ourselves
Mhm.
without blame? So
Yeah.
all of those questions, how do you sum up and answer?
Okay, in terms of peace, ne, because I was in a very messed up marriage. I think when I detached from when we detached from one another, I think that was in 2019, right? That's where like that was the last kick of a dying horse. So the gap started growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger between me and my ex. So it was just chaos. So the minute he said he wanted to move out of the house, that's where the peace started because it got to a point where when because he used to work shifts, right? When he's on night shift, that's why
Yeah.
I'm happier, you know. When he's here next to me, I feel so annoyed. Like literally he could have a pimple in his face and I wouldn't even see that he has one because that's how detached we were from one another, you know. So
Yeah.
with us having to drift further and further and further away over the years, when we eventually file for divorce, like literally right now, when I think that when I have to sleep on my bed, people who actually come and join me on my bed are people who have been invited to be in my house. That gives me so much peace,
Yeah.
you know, knowing that when I'm sleeping, nobody is misusing money. Nobody is like the fact that I know that what I left in my bank account, besides the Capitec thing, I had trust issues with Capitec. But the fact that I know that if I left 5 rand in my account, when I wake up in the morning, I'll still find 5 rand. The fact that I know that if I cooked chicken, tomorrow I won't wake up and find that, no, listen, something is not right. When I know that I open my fridge and I found that, okay, there's this much milk, there is this, hoshota, this and that, I know for a fact where the things will always be the way they are the way where I left them, I will find them like that. That gives me peace
Mm,
to know that if I get myself into a debt, if I eat all of my money, I have nobody to blame. Like literally, because now it's just me, myself, and I have nobody to blame for anything. That gives me peace to know that I won't be cross questioning anybody trying to look where did the money go? Where did money for school fees go? That gives me peace, you know. So I found my
mm,
peace immediately after the guy moved out of the house. Although it was just
mm.
chaotic because of the whole you know, fighting for property and whatnot. But my peace
Yeah.
came the minute that I found out who this guy when he said to me, "I've gone, I've left," you know, and nothing has changed ever since up until now, right? And also in terms of the family, hey, you know, I thank God because um in as much as we are not in good terms with these people because they can't be in good terms with me because I'm a loudmouth, right? But
Yeah.
because of the type of person that I am, because of the type of
Yeah.
person that I am, I'm a typical vendor girl, if I may put it that way, if there's ever such a thing. I'm a typical vendor girl in a sense, ya gore I understand very well that my kids are sebaka ke le one. They are mine and my ex-husband's and his families. So there's never gonna be a time like
Yeah.
right now I was saying, I don't know if you were here when I was saying that my kids my ex-husband came to fetch them yesterday, he's going to bring them on Monday. There's never going to be a time where I will say no to him when he wants to fetch his kids. Even the time when I was still fighting for maintenance, when he wants his kids, I'll give him his kids, because not because of him, but because I'll be doing it for my kids. So because the whole
Yes.
visitation thing has been happening even before the divorce, so the kids never really felt much of that difference. Because they never really felt the separation much, because they are still having a relationship with their cousins and the works, right? And also because their father was working shifts, he was never in the house. If he's off, he's always gallivanting in the streets. So literally, it's the same. They see him occasionally. They used to see him occasionally when we were still staying together as a family. So nothing has changed there. And also when it comes to self introspection, I think that's where we drifted apart even more during COVID, because that's when you really realize if you really like somebody or you hate them. you know that's when you
Mm.
realize, well, actually I don't like this person that I'm married to. Like, I don't like anything
Yeah.
about them. Like, we don't even click. What the hell, but then the thing is, because we used to spend such little time together, because we're always running around busy with other things, we don't realize how
Yeah.
much we dislike, or we have so many differences with the person that you are married to, until COVID actually was a wake up call for a lot of people. And a lot of people think that COVID broke relationships, but COVID actually made things fall into place, even including Renaba Zalwani church and everything. COVID, in as much as it took lives and everything, but it made all the rocks which were standing like this to actually fall and find their perfect position. If that falling and finding
Mm.
their perfect position means that other relationships had to be broken, other marriages had to be destroyed, then too bad. But I feel like COVID actually solved the fixed the country.
Can
I
I
hope I
can
answered
can
all
can
three.
I can I add too, and it's gonna be very short because I'm aware of your time frame. Ne?
Yes.
There is a story that I had heard. Mo e leng hore, there's a married man that comes home and says to the wife, hore, I want a divorce because he is affiliated with some whatever, right? And so this woman says, without and at the time that this man announces hore he wants a divorce, this woman wanted to announce her she's got cancer and she's dying of it, right? And so I want to relate it to your story because at that point, she did not actually articulate what she wanted to say. She allowed him to say, well, no, he wanted the divorce. But what she then said to him was, for every day until you want to walk out, and because our kids are studying and they are during exam time, this is what I want from you, right? I
Yes.
want you to lift me up and walk and hold me to the kitchen every morning. And so with that, it's the teaching of to the kids, Yahweh, he's a superhero,
Oh
because
yeah.
we always want to um, articulate to our kids, Hore, even when I'm not here, I want you to see your dad as
Yes.
something monumental. How have you taught your kids, even in separation, Hore, your dad is your dad will take care of you, your dad is a superhero. The relationship that Naleena we had has nothing to do with Lona. How do you teach them to see their dad as something elong hore it's separate from the relationship that you and him had?
I've decided that I'm not going to take responsibility for my ex-husband. I've decided that my kids will decide for themselves what they want to see their dad as. I'm not going to be involved, because I have a job for them to see me as the person that I am. If they see me as a good mother, if they see me as a mother they can question, then that is a lot of work for me. But for me to now cover up for my ex-husband, I'm not going to do any of that. I refuse to be responsible for my ex, even in our divorce. If he wants to step up as a father to his kids, listen, when kids grow up, I'll give you an example with my dad. My dad is an exceptional man. If you've been following my content, you'll know that I always speak well of my dad. My dad is an exceptional man. And my dad was not an exceptional man because my mom made me believe that my dad was an exceptional man. My dad was an exceptional man because he showed me love. He showed me that he's there for me. My mom didn't even have to do anything. My mom ended
Mm,
up dying. So meaning that there was nobody to actually try to cover up for my dad to be a good dad. right?
Oh,
He just had to step up. You understand?
that's
He
so
had to step up and
beautiful.
be there. I refuse to be responsible for my ex-husband even in a separation. So if my kids want to see their dad, the thing that I won't do ne, is to say anything about my ex-husband to my kids. If they want to speak to him, they want to ask him, Papa, how come you have not been fetching us for the past 2 months? I take the phone,
Good.
press voice note, talk to your dad. I will not be getting in between,
Okay.
because eventually when these people grow up, whatever outcome that they decide, or no man, this woman has been brainwashing us, this woman has been doing this and that, I will not be standing in the way. Should they decide that their dad is a good dad, good for them. Should they decide that their dad is not a good dad, law or not, there's nothing I can do about that. I can only work on my relationship with my kids, and that is it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then, what is your movement regarding the men are trash?
Whew. Men are trash, right? But my dad is not trash. So just because my dad is not trash, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna amplify my voice when I speak about men who are trash. Everybody, I always say that when I post my content, that every Cinderella who finds this shoe fitting should lace it up like a princess that they are and rock on by. So just
I,
because,
oh my
sorry.
God, you need to write a book.
Mm?
You need to write a book.
Yeah, I'm working on that. The problem is that because I'm busy with my one woman show, I've been
Yeah.
distracted. So I just want to focus on that. I think maybe towards my birthday in December, then I'm gonna launch my book. But it's on the way. Trust me. So yeah,
What date is your birthday?
my birthday is on the 12th of December.
Okay. I'm on the
Yeah,
8th.
is it
Hey,
on the 8th?
Sag. Yeah.
Hey. So yeah, when it comes to men are trash, men are trash. You know, men are trash, but my dad is not trash, and my dad understands. Here's the thing, like, my dad is such a perfect example of, you would think that I don't have a father figure with the type of content that I post. And if I told you that
Mm,
my dad is the only person who, my dad is literally my support structure, that is all I have, you will find it very much unbelievable. And my dad is such a fan of my work. My dad always
mm,
says to me, every Cinderella, like, listen, when I post content, ne, he already knows whether I'm talking what I'm talking about. He relates to it or not. And when I speak
yeah.
about things that have absolutely nothing to do with him, he's not worried and he doesn't feel any pain, because he knows for
Mm,
sure. He knows where he stands. He understands himself. So people who actually come crying and saying, "Yeah, this and that, you are bitter, you are angry," not all of us. That is Cinderella. Give that Cinderella her shoe. Yeah,
mm.
yeah. So that's
And
my take.
then the last question that I have is when that is your belief or men are trash, what
My
is
battery
your
is dying.
what is your teaching to your children in terms of moving away from what has been the standard notion of what men are? Because you must also remember, Hore, we are living in what the society has I don't know whether to say Hore has made a standard of the country is a rape kingi, I don't know what you call it. A rape is a country or notion of country, but also I wanted to find out from you because I've been asking this question to a lot of women where we don't take blame and we are so victimized to a point of even when we are wrong, we are hiding behind covers. There are women that are saying, if he does not pay, then it is rape. What do you say to young girls in correcting the behavior? Yahor, we need to take responsibility as women to not necessarily point at men, but to take the responsibility to say, "Hore, we birth men, we encourage men, we are part parcel of the degradation of society." What do you say to the girl child to stand strong, but to also believe in herself to choose the right man?
I think last year during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, I was running the TikTok Africa page for a day, right, where I was hosting the continent about gender-based violence, what causes gender-based violence, and why are we sitting in situations which are painful to us, right? One of the major contributors to gender-based violence is dependability. The fact
Yeah.
that you are not independent as a person, you are depending on a man. That means that you will choose to stay even when you can see that this is not a favorable condition for you, right? And
Mm.
now here's the thing. I posted a video recently about this. Here's the thing. This is very tricky. I want you to get me right.
Yeah.
If you are staying with a man because not because you can see that there's no love here, you can see that this man does not deserve you, but you are staying simply because that man is your meal ticket, right? Do you
Mm.
believe that a man who knows that you're not staying with him because of love, you are staying with him because he is your meal ticket? Do you honestly believe a man like that will ever see you as a companion, or they will see you as a subordinate?
Mm.
You understand what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now the you need to get me that a lot of resentment that comes from men who are providers, a lot of abuse which comes from men who are providers, is simply because
Mm.
they know that you are using them in as much as you're not in a position to be above them, but you are using them as a meal ticket. So that causes a lot of resentment simply because they know for a fact that if anything comes by which is better than them, if anything comes by, if a chance is given to you to leave them, you will leave them. So what they will do is they will use the opportunity to actually, like, it's them acting out. They're acting out because they
Mm.
know that you are actually using them. You don't love them, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
us, we sit in these situations and we even say it to say, because I'm not working, you are mistreating me. Well, because you're not working, you are staying.
Oh.
So you see, so women, let us only get into relationships for love, right?
Yeah.
If a man wants to spoil you, if he wants to buy you flowers, if he wants to take you to Dubai, let him do that, not because you can't do it for yourself, but because he's just trying to show you that's his love language.
That's his
Because now the
affection.
problem, I have a problem with a man who, okay, I always say this to my partner, right?
Mm.
I don't have much. I'm not well off that much,
Mm.
but I don't think there is anything you can do for me that I can't do for myself, right? This is us
Mhm.
having a healthy conversation. So
Yes.
when we get to a point where there is nothing you can do for me that I can't do for myself, it doesn't necessarily mean that now when you do things for me, I won't appreciate you anymore. But when it gets to a point where now you are my God, now everything,
Mm.
like literally you are my oxygen, it becomes a problem
Yeah.
because you resent me. Resentment of people who are sole providers is not because now because they're working, they just have an attitude. No, they know that you're
Yeah.
staying with them because of what they have in their hand, meaning that should they lose their job, you are gone. Do you think as a normal human being, a man who was born of a woman, who has a heart, does not deserve love? Like real love,
Yeah.
where they are being loved for no other reason besides the fact that, no, I just love you for who you are. But because a lot of
Mm.
us, especially us who are not working, we are loving them
Mm.
because of what they have to offer us, then they start to mistreat us because they're acting out. Because, listen, I know that you don't love me for me, you love me for what I have.
Yeah.
So my daughter needs to understand that when she gets in there, she's not getting in there for what the man has to offer. And also because of our different love languages, if a man is able to give you certain things and that makes you happy, it makes you happy because, well, a heart is a heart. But at the end of the day, you are not there for that.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Eh,
nothing.
last question. I know can already put
Ah,
Mabele, Mabele, last question. I'm the
okay,
only one that's been expressive. Um,
okay.
um, how have you found your expression of love post the hurt?
You know what, guys? I have been going. I've been getting out. The thing is, a lot of people think that, and I've had this conversation a lot of times in my videos to say women don't divorce today. You don't
Mm.
wake up and say I'm getting divorced. You divorce, hey? You divorce for years. You moan for years. By the time you
Mm.
finally go to court and you do that thing, you're done. You understand what I mean? You're already done. So throughout the whole mourning process, while you're mourning, while you're still there, when you get to a point where you don't even ask questions anymore, when you get to a point where you don't even care whether that person came back at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, or they
Mm.
came back just before your alarm went on. That is your mourning. That is your mourning process. So by the time you
Yeah.
get there, by the time you get to, like, literally, me and my ex, ne, we were already dating while we had not finalized the divorce. That's how much we were over each other.
Mm.
You get what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
because
deep.
I mean, if we're in a relationship, like a normal relationship where we're not married, if we're not touching each other for a year, are we still married?
Ooh, yeah.
And because
Yeah,
I'm a
ne?
very communicative person, Mina, I'm very communicative, Mina. You see the way that I am now. Shame. I was telling my friend yesterday, I'm like, yo, poor guy. People think I've only been like this now. They don't know that these are the conversations that I've been having with their brothers. Like literally, we could eat it. Like, why we're still promoting
Mm,
no poor guy. Now he doesn't have to listen to this type of conversations which make him crack his brain anymore. Now it's the problem of everybody because
mm,
I'm speaking to everybody, you know. But I would have these conversations with
yeah.
him to say, listen, you see how things are now. Me and you, we are not gelling anymore. And we're not going to
Mm,
be blaming each other. That's just how things are. We're not feeling each other anymore. We're not loving each other anymore. So many things have happened. And I'm not even going to try and block you from doing whatever. Um,
mm.
yeah, let's rock. And we were rocking, right? We were rocking. So yeah.
I love your sense of being. Thank you very much for allowing me to enter into your space and enter into your mind.
Uh,
And I will allow
Unprepared,
you
but
to.
not even a briefing yana to say these are the questions I'll be asking you.
Ake motho o jwalo, ko bone kare I love the conversation that you are having and not necessarily conversation, how you've put yourself out
Yeah.
and we appreciate such and I will inbox you to get your numbers so that we can conversate even more. But I love your teachings. Can you
Ah,
continue doing so? And can people appreciate hore omang I saw Katlego, my boy, Allah. And I
yeah,
think hore, we need to be a nation elong hore, we allow people to be, we allow
yeah,
people to heal, we allow people to express themselves. And
yeah.
so with you, we often judge in the Black community